Have you ever wondered what truly sets apart women over 70? Some of them radiate happiness, strength, and an inner peace. Others, in contrast, seem stuck in a loop of sadness or loneliness. This isn't a coincidence or a stroke of luck. It has nothing to do with good fortune, recaptured youth, or a perfect life. It's not about wealth or having an easy go of things. The real difference lies in something much deeper, yet far more accessible: their daily habits. Science confirms this. Long-term studies like the renowned Harvard study of adult development have shown that well-being in our later years isn't a random prize. It's the result of conscious daily choices, small actions repeated with intention, and the will to build happiness from the inside out day by day. Today, I want to invite you on a special journey. Let's explore 12 things that happy women over 70 do every single day. These aren't complicated rituals or unattainable goals. They are simple, human, and profoundly transformative decisions. Are you ready to discover them? I invite you to imagine, for just a moment, waking up each morning with a smile, feeling that you still have so much to live for, so much to enjoy. It doesn't matter how many winters have passed or what scars you carry in your heart. Every day can be a new beginning. Every day can be an act of self-love. Let's begin. 1. They start the day with gratitude. Happy women over 70 understand that each morning is a gift, not just another routine. They don't just jump out of bed and sigh about the day's worries. Before their eyes are fully open, they pause, take a deep breath, feel the life in their bodies, and give thanks. Thanks for a new sunrise, for the warmth of their blankets, for the distant song of a bird, or simply for the chance to live one more day. This simple, quiet, and personal gesture doesn't require any grand preparation, but it changes everything. Because no matter how many problems surround them, they choose the very first thought of their day. Gratitude becomes their first shield against discouragement or anxiety. Instead of focusing on what aches or what's missing, they choose to begin with what they still have: life, memories, love, the fresh morning air. This small act of gratitude doesn't erase difficulties, but it changes how they face them. It's like lighting an inner candle that will guide them through the day. Many of them keep a small notebook on their nightstand, and as they start their day, they jot down 3 things they're grateful for. Sometimes it's a sweet memory, other times a small goal they've set for themselves, or simply the smell of coffee brewing made with love. It's not the size of the gratitude that matters, but its sincerity. Through this daily ritual, they train their minds to see the bright side of life, even on gray days. This practice isn't an obligation, it's an act of self-love. Happy women know it's not about denying hardship, but about consciously choosing which seeds to water within themselves. And by sowing gratitude each morning, they reap peace, strength, and a deep connection to the simple beauty of being alive. 2. They nurture meaningful social connections. Happy women over 70 know the human heart wasn't made for complete solitude. Despite the changes that time brings, friends moving away, family growing distant, the inevitable losses, they don't give up on connection. Every day they make a conscious effort to maintain the bridges that link them to others. It might be a quick call to an old friend, a spontaneous chat with a neighbor while getting the mail, or participating in a community event. They don't lock themselves away in silence. They open their doors. They understand that the quality of relationships matters more than the quantity. They don't need dozens of people around to feel whole. Sometimes one honest conversation, one shared smile, one gesture of kindness is enough. They consciously choose to surround themselves with people who bring them joy, respect, and genuine support. They don't waste time on those who don't value their presence and have learned to guard their peace like a treasure. A true connection isn't an accident. It's a daily effort. For them, every conversation is a chance to nourish their soul. They don't seek out empty chatter or obligatory meetings. They prefer dialogues that make them feel seen, heard, and understood. Even when life means they spend more time alone, they find ways to keep the spark of human contact alive. Writing letters, sending texts, joining book clubs or walking groups. Because they know that a life shared with others, even in brief moments, is a richer life. And so day by day, happy women over 70 build their support network, like patiently knitting a warm blanket with love and purpose. They understand that you don't wait for company to knock on your door. You go out and find it, nurture it, and cherish it. For them, social connection isn't a luxury, it's a need they embrace with wisdom and gratitude. 3. They move their bodies every day. Happy women over 70 have learned that movement is not a punishment or a chore, but a privilege. Every morning, before diving into their tasks or thoughts, they offer a small gesture of love to their bodies, a gentle walk, some light stretching, a stroll through the garden, or even a short dance to a favorite song. The intensity, duration, or performance doesn't matter. What matters is the act of moving itself as a celebration of being alive. Daily movement is their silent medicine. They know that every step strengthens their bones, every stretch improves their flexibility, and every deep breath renews their energy. But beyond the physical benefits, they understand that to move the body is to set their inner world in motion too. A walk clears the mind, a dance awakens the soul, perhaps a little sway to an old Glenn Miller tune. A stretch reminds them that they can still command the space around them. Every movement, no matter how small, is an affirmation. I am still here, I am still strong, I am still standing. And they don't compare themselves to others. They aren't trying to have the energy they had 20 years ago or to break personal records. They move for themselves out of love and respect. Some find joy in a gentle yoga class, others in swimming, and still others simply in tending their garden or walking the dog. Physical activity isn't a burden. It's a source of vitality that feeds their emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being. That's why, day by day, happy women over 70 treat movement as a sacred ritual. It doesn't matter if their steps are slow, if their bodies have limitations, or if some days bring a few more aches. What matters is that through movement, they reaffirm their right to keep enjoying life with fullness, grace, and gratitude. 4. They keep their minds active and curious. Happy women over 70 don't let age extinguish their curiosity. They understand that a mind challenged daily stays young, sharp, and full of life. So every day they do something to stimulate their thinking. They read novels that transport them to other worlds. They tackle the daily crossword puzzle, training their memory. They learn new skills that challenge their intellect, like learning how to use FaceTime with their grandkids. They refuse to settle into a mental routine. They allow themselves the luxury of being continually amazed. For them, learning has no expiration date. If a new topic sparks their interest, they explore it. If a grandchild tells them about new technology, they ask questions without embarrassment. If they find a new recipe, they try it without hesitation. They don't freeze in the face of the unknown. They embrace it as an opportunity for growth. Each day presents an open door to expand their minds, exercise their memories, and keep their thinking flexible. They don't learn to collect degrees or prove anything to anyone. They learn for themselves for the pure pleasure of keeping that spark of discovery alive. Many of them enroll in art classes, participate in book clubs, learn a musical instrument, or take online courses. Every small mental task, every piece of new knowledge, strengthens them and connects them to the present, preventing life from becoming an automatic repetition. And so day by day, these happy women tend to their minds like a garden that must be cultivated with love and dedication. They understand that true youth isn't found in a wrinkle-free face, but in the sparkle in their eyes, in fresh ideas, and in the ability to keep asking questions, learning, and wondering. And this conscious choice to keep their curiosity alive is one of the greatest sources of their happiness. 5. They eat mindfully and well. Happy women over 70 have transformed their relationship with food. They no longer eat out of anxiety, to fill a void, or out of simple habit. They eat to nourish themselves, to honor their bodies, to give themselves health and energy. Every meal is an act of self-love. They don't strive for dietary perfection or obsess over the latest food fads. They simply choose foods that make them feel good, strengthen their bodies, and delight their hearts. Their daily plate is a festival of vibrant colors, fresh vegetables, juicy fruits, nourishing beans, quality proteins, and whole grains. They prefer what is natural, simple, and real. They don't count calories with anxiety or live under the thumb of strict restrictions. They enjoy the process of cooking, savoring, and sharing a meal prepared with care. They understand that eating well doesn't mean giving up pleasure, but rather reconnecting with the purest pleasure of all, taking care of life itself. Besides, they allow themselves little joys without guilt. A slice of homemade apple pie, a glass of good wine, a piece of chocolate shared on a special evening. They know that true balance isn't found in rigidity, but in the wisdom of listening to their bodies. They don't punish themselves for their choices because they know that healthy eating also includes joy, celebration, and flexibility. Every time they choose to eat mindfully, they are reaffirming a silent commitment to their own well-being. For them, eating well isn't a sacrifice, but an act of gratitude to the body that has carried them through every stage of life. And so, bite by bite, happy women sow vitality, health, and joy into each new day they build. 6. They practice mindfulness and manage stress wisely. Happy women over 70 have learned that while they can't control everything that happens around them, they can control their reaction to it. They know that stress isn't something to be eliminated entirely, but something to be managed. Every day they consciously practice mindfulness, the simple yet powerful art of living in the present moment, of being right here, right now, without getting tangled in the webs of the past or anxieties about the future. They don't need elaborate rituals to find peace. Sometimes it's enough to take a deep breath, feel the warmth of the sun on their face, or silently enjoy a cup of hot tea. Other times they might write in a journal to release heavy thoughts, or simply sit in silence for a few minutes, letting the world's noise float by like clouds in the sky. For them, mindfulness isn't a trend. It's a real tool for preserving their serenity. When a problem arises, and problems never completely disappear, they don't react impulsively. They pause, they breathe, and they ask themselves if what's bothering them is truly worth stealing the peace they've worked so hard to cultivate. In that small space between stimulus and response lies their freedom, their emotional wisdom, their inner strength. So day after day, happy women choose not to be swept away by stress. They choose to stop, observe, and then act with intention. They've learned that taking care of their mental peace is just as important as taking care of their physical health. And this ability to live with presence and serenity becomes a deep wellspring of their lasting happiness. 7. They have a daily purpose or passion. Happy women over 70 don't wake up without a reason. Every day, no matter how simple, holds meaning for them. A little spark of purpose that gets them out of bed with enthusiasm. We're not talking about grand missions or monumental achievements. It might be tending to their plants, writing a few lines in a journal, cooking a special meal for a loved one, or finishing an embroidery project they have on hand. What's important is that they always have something that connects them to life in a meaningful way. Purpose isn't always something grand. Sometimes it's hidden in the everyday, the humble, the personal. Many find their calling in volunteering, helping out in their community, or supporting others who need a kind word. Others find it in art, painting, writing, knitting, creating beauty with their own hands. Still others find it in lifelong learning, in passing their wisdom on to younger generations, in being a quiet beacon of experience and tenderness. Having a daily purpose gives them direction and meaning. They don't feel like they're just passing time or waiting for something to happen. On the contrary, they are the active protagonists of their own lives. And you know what? As long as they have a reason to smile each morning, no matter how small it may seem, they will always have a reason to live with passion. That's why, day by day, happy women cultivate this inner flame, feed their passions, and allow themselves to dream, create, and contribute. Because they understand that as long as you have something you love to do, something to look forward to, something that gives your existence meaning, your heart won't just beat out of habit, but out of the pure joy of being. 8. They connect with nature. Happy women over 70 have discovered that one of life's greatest gifts is right outside their door: nature. They don't need to take long trips or live in the countryside to feel this connection. A small garden, a walk under the trees, a few minutes spent in the sun, or simply opening a window to let the fresh air fill the room is enough. Every day in some way, they seek out this contact with the natural world that calms, revitalizes, and reminds them of what's essential. For them, nature is more than just a backdrop. It's a silent source of wisdom. They learn from the changing of the seasons, from the patience of flowers, from the resilience of trees that withstand storms and still continue to grow. By walking on the grass, caring for a plant, or looking up at a starry night, they find life lessons that no book can teach. Every contact with the earth brings them back to a sense of belonging, of deep peace. It doesn't matter if the weather is bad or if their mobility is limited. Even on rainy days or when they can't leave the house, they find ways to get closer to nature. Watching birds from the window, tending to potted plants on the balcony, or just listening to a recording of nature sounds. The important thing is not to lose that invisible thread that connects them to the living world, a thread that nourishes their spirit with serenity and wonder. And so, day by day, happy women cultivate their connection with the earth, not as a duty, but as an act of self-love. They understand that by connecting with nature, they are also connecting with their own essence. And this silent reminder that we are part of something vast, beautiful, and timeless gives them a quiet strength that accompanies them with every step. 9. They laugh often and find joy in the little things. Happy women over 70 know that life isn't always easy, but they also know there are always reasons to smile if you look with an open heart. They don't wait for grand events to feel joyful. They find reasons for laughter and happiness in the simplest details. A funny conversation, sharing a laugh over a memory like a scene from an old I Love Lucy episode, a clumsy moment in the kitchen, or the spontaneous gesture of a child on the street. For them, every day holds little gems worth celebrating. Laughter isn't a luxury, it's a necessity for the soul. They've learned that a good laugh lightens the weight of problems, that a moment of joy can heal more than many serious words. They don't take everything too seriously, not themselves, not the world around them. They allow themselves to be playful, mischievous, and curious. They understand that laughing is an act of courage, a way of telling life, despite everything, I still choose joy. They aren't looking for perfection or the idealized happiness of the movies. They delight in what is: a beautiful sunrise, a dog wagging its tail, a song that brings back happy memories. Even on difficult days, they make a conscious effort to find something, no matter how small, that brings a smile to their face. They know that the art of living happily isn't about the absence of problems, but about not letting problems extinguish your inner light. And so, day by day, happy women cultivate laughter as an act of rebellion and self-love. And in every burst of laughter, in every spontaneous smile, they discover that life is still full of beauty, wonder, and tenderness, even in our later years. Because anyone who laughs from the heart stays young on the inside, no matter their age. 10. They care for their appearance with self-love. Happy women over 70 understand that taking care of their appearance isn't about vanity, it's about dignity. Every morning when they look in the mirror, they don't search for flaws or lament the passage of time. They look for their essence, their light, their history reflected in every line and every silver hair. They get ready not to please others, but to honor themselves. They lovingly style their hair, choose clothes that make them feel comfortable and beautiful, and put on that special perfume that connects them to happy memories. It doesn't matter if their style is simple or elegant. What matters is that their appearance reflects their self-respect. They know that a small gesture of care, like putting on a favorite lipstick or a pair of pearl earrings, can change their mood for the entire day. They don't dress to look younger, but to express their authenticity. Every choice in their daily grooming is a silent affirmation of their self-worth, their strength, and their right to continue feeling valuable. For them, caring for their appearance isn't superficial. It's a way of reminding themselves that they still deserve attention, that their body, with all its marks of time, is still worthy of love and celebration. They know that looking good on the outside also strengthens how they feel on the inside. And they understand that true attractiveness doesn't depend on wrinkles, but on the energy with which they walk, the confidence with which they smile, and the kindness they radiate. And so, day by day, happy women over 70 turn every small act of self-care into a ritual of self-love. They don't let society impose invisibility or oblivion on them. They continue to walk with their heads held high, radiant, knowing that true beauty doesn't fade with the years. It deepens, grows richer, and becomes timeless. 11. They practice forgiveness and let go of the past. Happy women over 70 have learned that holding on to grudges is like walking with rocks in your pockets. Every step becomes heavier, more tiring. They've realized that to forgive isn't to condone or forget, but to set yourself free, not for the other person's sake, but for their own. Every day they choose to release what they can no longer change, to heal old wounds and to shed the guilt, both others and their own, that only drains their spirit. They don't keep a ledger of offenses in their hearts or replay disappointments over and over. They know that the past, no matter how painful, no longer has the power to define them unless they allow it to. And they have made a conscious decision not to be prisoners of old stories. Sometimes the act of forgiveness is silent. They write a letter they'll never send, say a private prayer, or simply take a deep breath and tell themselves, "That's over. I choose peace now." They also forgive themselves for their own mistakes, for the decisions they might see differently today, for missed opportunities or words left unsaid. They don't beat themselves up with endless regrets. They embrace themselves with tenderness, understanding that at every moment in their lives they did the best they could with what they knew. This self-forgiveness gives them the freedom to move forward with a light heart and a clear gaze. And so, day by day, happy women over 70 choose to live without emotional chains. They transform pain into lessons, loss into wisdom, and falls into inner strength, discovering that letting go isn't about losing, but about making space inside for the joy, compassion, and deep peace they deserve. 12. They prioritize rest and restorative sleep. Happy women over 70 know that rest is not a luxury or a waste of time, but a vital necessity. They've left behind the belief that you have to be constantly busy to feel valuable. They understand that a rested body and mind are the foundation for a full, serene, and energetic life. That's why every day they grant themselves the right to quiet rest and the hours of sleep needed to restore their inner vitality. They create evening rituals that help their bodies wind down. They dim the lights, step away from screens, enjoy some quiet reading, or listen to soft music that wraps them in serenity. They turn the act of going to bed into a ritual of self-care, not just another task on their daily schedule. They don't go to sleep chewing on their worries. Instead, they release the day with gratitude, knowing that every night is an opportunity to be reborn. They know that a good night's sleep improves not only their mood, but also their memory, immune system, and emotional balance. That's why they respect their need for sleep just as they respect their need for food or love. And if they have a restless night, they don't punish themselves for it. They make up for it with short breaks during the day. Whether it's a quick nap or moments of mindful rest, they listen to themselves with compassion and flexibility. In this way, they prioritize their rest as a way of honoring their health and well-being. They understand that nothing is more rejuvenating than deep sleep, that no cream or treatment can beat the restorative power of a peaceful night. And upon waking with a renewed body and a calm spirit, they are ready to face the new day with all the joy and strength they deserve. In conclusion, as we look at these 12 daily habits together, we uncover one powerful truth. Happiness in our later years is not a matter of luck or an exclusive gift for a select few. It is the fruit of conscious choices, of small acts of self-love, repeated time and again. Every happy woman over 70 is the silent author of her own well-being, the architect of a life that continues to bloom even when others might think it's time to slow down. They don't deny hardship or pretend that life is always easy and fair. They know loss, change, and goodbyes all too well, but they have learned that pain does not have to define them, that every sunrise brings a new opportunity to choose gratitude, movement, connection, and inner peace. They don't live trapped in the past or mortgaging their future. They live here and now, savoring each moment with wisdom and tenderness. True happiness isn't about having a perfect life, but about knowing how to find the light even in the midst of shadows. These women have mastered the art of seeing beauty and simplicity, of nourishing their bodies and souls, of building genuine connections, of letting go of what hurts, and of embracing what heals. And in doing so, they not only give themselves a better life, but also inspire everyone around them with their quiet, luminous example. Each of these 12 habits is like a seed. By planting them day after day, they cultivate inner gardens of strength, joy, and serenity. It doesn't matter if some seeds take longer to sprout or if some days are harder than others. What matters is the consistency, the intention, the love poured into each small daily act. Because in the sum of these small gestures, a truly extraordinary life is born. And you can choose this too. It doesn't matter how old you are, what your story is, or what your current circumstances are. Happiness is always available to anyone who decides to create it with patience, care, and hope. Every habit you adopt is a declaration of love for yourself, a silent promise that there is still so much beauty yet to come. Today is the best day to begin.